You're making $50,000 a year, maybe even $60,000, and somehow you're still living paycheck to paycheck. You thought hitting that number would feel different. You thought you'd finally have breathing room. But here you are, checking your account before buying groceries and genuinely wondering where all your money went. Here's what's gonna blow your mind. You're not bad with money. There's a mathematical and psychological trap built into modern life that makes $50,000 feel like you're broke. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So let's talk about what $50,000 actually is. Because here's what most people don't realize. $50,000 isn't $50,000. Federal taxes take 12% to 22%. State taxes another 3% to 6% in most places. Social Security and Medicare clip 7.65%. Before you touch a dollar, you're down to about $37,000 to $40,000 take home. That's your actual spending power. Now, if you're spending 40% to 50% of that on housing, which is common in most cities, you've got maybe $20,000 to $24,000 left for the entire year. That's $1,600 to $2,000 per month for food, transportation, insurance, utilities, phone, internet, healthcare, and anything else. But here's where it gets interesting. When most of us got that bump from $40,000 to $50,000, we didn't save the difference. We upgraded the apartment, we bought a nicer car because I can afford it now. We started eating out more, added streaming services, subscribed to things. There's this phenomenon called lifestyle inflation, and research from the Federal Reserve found that for every additional dollar Americans earn, they increase spending by 90 cents. 90 cents! We're not building wealth. We're just buying a slightly more expensive version of broke. Now you might be thinking, okay, but I'm not being irresponsible. These are normal expenses. And that's exactly the problem. Here's the uncomfortable truth most finance content won't tell you. At $50,000, you're not underpaid. You're overcommitted. Think about it. Your rent is priced at the maximum you can afford while still qualifying. Your car payment is structured around what you can handle monthly, not what the car actually costs. Credit card companies employ psychologists to figure out how to keep you in debt. And according to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, if you carry a balance, you're paying an average of $1,155 in interest every year just for the privilege of having bought stuff you couldn't afford last year. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed to extract every available dollar from your paycheck. Here's what nobody talks about: the middle class penalty. You make too much to qualify for assistance, but not enough to have real financial flexibility. Poor families get subsidized healthcare and housing. Wealthy families have tax strategies and write-offs. But you're paying full price for everything with no safety net and no loopholes. And then there's what I call expenditure blindness. When you were making $30,000, every dollar mattered. You said no to things. But at $50,000, you stopped tracking small purchases because it's only $12, or I can afford it now. A study by West Monroe Partners found that Americans underestimate their monthly subscription spending by $133. They think they're spending $86, but they're actually spending $219. Those small purchases add up to thousands per year, just vanishing into services you barely use. The reason $50,000 feels broke isn't just math, it's psychology. You're earning like you're middle class, but spending like you're upper middle class, which makes you feel like you're broke. Look, your coworkers and friends seem fine, right? Everyone's traveling, buying stuff, living their lives. Here's something that'll change your perspective. They're broke too. They're just broke with better marketing. According to Bankrate, 56% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency from savings. More than half. Your friends' vacation photos might be financed at 24% interest. Your coworker's new car could be a $650 monthly payment they can barely afford. Social media created an illusion of wealth that's completely disconnected from reality. People are financing their Instagram aesthetic with debt they'll be paying off for years. Alright, here's what actually works, and I promise this is simpler than you think. First, do a 30-day reality audit. Track every expense, not to judge yourself, but to get real data. Most people think they spend $200 eating out, but it's actually $500. You cannot manage what you don't measure. Second, calculate your fixed costs. Rent, insurance, car payment, minimum debt payments, things you can't easily change. If those are above 50% of your take-home, you have a structural problem, not a spending problem. You might need a cheaper apartment or a less expensive car. I know that's not fun to hear, but it's math. Third, and this is critical, automate your savings before you see the money. Start with 5% of your take-home pay. That's about $160 per month on $40,000. Set up an automatic transfer the day your paycheck hits. You won't miss it after week 3. Then increase it by 1% every time you get a raise. Here's what most people don't realize. Building wealth isn't about making more, it's about keeping more. If you save 15% of $50,000, that's $7,500 per year. In 10 years with compound interest, that's over $100,000. That's life-changing money. Fourth, cancel subscriptions you don't use weekly. That alone could free up $100 to $200 monthly. And finally, change how you think about purchases. Stop using words like only or just. Every dollar you spend is a dollar that can't grow for you. Every $5 coffee is $5 that could become $15 in 10 years through investment. Here's the thing. You're not broke because you're bad with money. You're broke because nobody taught you that earning more doesn't matter if you're spending more. Recent research shows that happiness does keep rising with income beyond $75,000, but much more slowly than people expect. The biggest jumps in financial peace happen when you have savings, not when you have stuff. Imagine having 6 months of expenses saved. Imagine not caring about the price when buying groceries. Imagine a car repair feeling annoying, not terrifying. That life is possible at $50,000, but only if you stop playing the game everyone else is playing. The people who build wealth at average incomes aren't lucky or smarter. They just refuse to let lifestyle creep steal their future. They made boring decisions consistently, and 10 years later, they're in a completely different reality. You can be that person. It starts with one decision today. Go do that audit. Automate that savings. And comment audit below if you're actually going to do this. I want to see how many of you are serious about changing this. I believe in you.